Have you ever wondered what happens when you die? When you step to the edge of life itself? What lies beyond the veil of the known, in the moments between life and death? Near-death experiences, mysterious, transformative, and often profoundly life-changing, offer a glimpse into this enigma. Don't forget to tap the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like hearing about near-death experiences. Today we are talking to Valentina. She has a harrowing story of drowning, death, and coming back to life, to tell us about what it was like in those moments in between this world and the next.
Hi, I'm Valentina. I am 30 years old, and this is my story. This happened in my childhood back in Mexico. I was 6 years old. I was at the beach with my family for a holiday. It was not my first time at the beach, but it was my first time swimming in the ocean. I had been familiar with swimming in pools before, but this was different. The ocean had a heartbeat, power, and I remember being in awe of the sight of it. Not only that, but we were staying at this hotel, and I had been getting my practice pretty much since the moment we arrived at the hotel, jumping in the pool, but I couldn't wait to get into the ocean. I would watch it from the hotel, and my parents would say, "We will go tomorrow." My brother was 8 years old, and he was with me, and he had also never been able to swim in the ocean. So we had our 2 days of practice before my parents took us to the beach. The beach was great, and the hotel staff helped set our chairs out right next to the ocean. The waves looked big, but we saw other children standing by the shore playing in the waves. My parents let us start playing in the sand, and we brought little toys with us that we bought in the gift shop. Finally, they told us we can play near the shore where the other children were, and with big smiles on our faces, we ran. I remember meeting some other children who lived in different parts of Mexico and the United States. A few times I went back to where my parents were sitting to show them the shells I found. But finally, me and my brother, Emilio, decided to jump in. First, we were up to our knees, but we kept tossing one of our toys, and I would go get it and throw it to Emilio, and the water keeps getting deeper and deeper. But I can feel my tippy toes at the bottom of the ocean floor, and then I kept jumping up and practiced my floating. This was happening for a while. Then Emilio decided he was going to go back so he can eat lunch. He told me to get out of the water, but I told him I wasn't hungry. I just wanted to stay in the ocean. So I started practicing my kicking, even going underwater to touch the floor and try to find shells. I was so distracted and proud of myself for being such a good swimmer that I didn't realize how far I drifted. Then when I noticed I couldn't see where my brother went and that I was far from the kids that we were playing with, I started to panic. First I remember crying, and then trying to call out for someone, but my little voice didn't travel far. Then my legs started to cramp and freeze, and I forgot how to float. I started to feel myself struggle and use my arms, but my panic made my breathing very shallow. Then I started to sink more and more and lose my breath completely. After that, I was drowning and losing consciousness. I felt myself slipping away from life, and before I knew it, I was no longer in the water. Instead, I was in this cold, dark room, but it didn't have any walls. I start to see these creatures moving towards me, but they walked very strange, on all fours. Then they are galloping towards me, and there's this light surrounding them. I am first very, very scared, but then I realize it's a dog, then I see a cat. I start to see all these little animals. And leading the pack is my dog Nacho, who died the year before. He had been with me since I was born, and I start to get so excited. It's Nacho. He was this big golden retriever, and he belonged to my dad before my parents got married. And then when they had me, he was with me since I was born. He was my first friend, and I had been so upset when he died. I remember feeling the loss of him like the worst pain I had experienced. He comes to me and licks my face and looks happy and is wagging his tail. He has his other friends with him, a cat that was a stray that would often come into our yard to hang out with Nacho. I see other animals, but they do not look familiar. They start to lead me into this big field with flowers, and they all start to run in the field, but Nacho stays close to me. I follow him and see people in the field. Some children and a woman there with beautiful long braids. She looks at me and smiles, then comes to me and Nacho. She tells Nacho, "Thank you, Nacho, you can go play now." Then she looks at me and says, "Hello, Valentina, I'm your Aunt Genesis." I didn't have an Aunt Genesis that I knew of, but she goes on to tell me she was my mother's sister, that she had died a long time ago, when my mother was only 4 years old. Oh, my Aunt Jenny! I remember that was what my mom had called her when she told us stories about her. She tells me that I have drowned in the ocean, and that I have come to the place we go when we die. She introduces me to someone that looked like San Juan Diego, the peasant farmer my grandmother taught me all about. He was so nice to me, but then he tells me that I have died and came to heaven. I look around me and then realize he is not lying. It is the most beautiful place I have ever seen, and it is endless. I see people everywhere and animals getting along with one another, and I'm not afraid. Actually, it is the most courageous I felt ever, and I want to go run in the fields with the other people and animals. But they tell me that I can't stay here, that my family is very worried for me. They show me in a strange way, a picture comes to my head, and I see my brother and parents around me. They are terrified. We are at the beach, and I am on the sand, but I am not moving. I see the image, and I feel so far away from them. I don't even feel like that is me on the beach. Then Saint Juan Diego tells me that I have to go back to them, that I have come to fulfill what I needed to fulfill by crossing into the land of the dead, but that the rest of my purpose is still on earth. I don't want to go back. And my stubborn 6-year-old self tells Saint Juan Diego that I don't want to leave, I want to stay a little longer, and that I just got there. He tells me I am a very sassy young girl, and that it will help me in life to stay passionate about things when I go back. I tell him I do very good in school, and he laughs. My Aunt Jenny smiles at me. Then I see Nacho in the distance, and he is running towards me with a life preserver. He gives it to my Aunt Jenny, and then she tosses it over my head, and everything goes black again. I blink my eyes open, and I see the image that I had seen in heaven. The people standing around me, including my parents and my brother, but they start crying, and my brother gives me a big hug. I start coughing up the water in my lungs. I ask them, where is Nacho? They look confused, but they start to laugh. I start to get angry that they are laughing because I didn't think I said anything funny. Then it hits me. It was not a dream. My parents later told me that they thought they had lost me. My brother jokes that I am a zombie like in his video games and calls me zombie for the rest of our trip. I was taken to the hospital just to make sure I was okay. The doctors tell my family that I did not experience any brain damage, and my brother jokes, "Are you sure? Is she going to eat our brains when we are asleep?" I don't think it is funny, and I punch him in the stomach, and it makes him laugh more. I later found out that I had a near-death experience, that I actually got to experience heaven or the land of the dead. I told my story to my family and cousins, and they think I am special because of it, but mostly they are happy that I didn't stay there. The experience always stayed with me, and I wound up becoming very interested in caring for animals and felt a special bond with them throughout my life. I wound up volunteering at a rescue when I was in school, and then later went to school to become a veterinarian. I am now Dr. Zombie, according to my brother. I don't care though, he is a gym teacher, so the joke is on him now.
Thank you for listening to this story. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe to the channel, and remember to always practice safe swimming when you are in a pool or ocean. Until next time.